We always want to be mentally prepared because a lot of things go on in unexpected situations. So we got to be careful and be that defensive driver. All right, so we've been training through neighborhoods. We have a partially controlled intersection. We are the main road. You gotta look. Let's talk about the response here of the stop sign. It's more than just stop. You want to stop right before the sign. We have a 3-second stop. 1001, 1002, 1003. Now I need to move forward. I'm going to move forward. It's called showing the car. And then I'm going to show you what you should do. You should be looking left and right, left and right. When this car goes by me, I'm going to make a right turn in the nearest lane. Always turn in the nearest lane. It facilitates a smoother flow of traffic. We got a lot going on here. We have all these marks on the road. We got motorcyclists out. What? They got to have their helmets on. We didn't expect that. So when we stop, you want to see the rear of the tires on the ground. If you can't, you're too close to the car. And if we get rear-ended, we're going to be knocked into this car. This happened to my nephew. Speed control and just feeling comfortable are vital. If all of you were beginning drivers, I would simply say, let's go with the flow and let's relax. Let's talk about making a lane change to the left. You check your, I'm going to show you this. You check your inside mirror, outside mirror, mirror, turn signal, blind spot. I check my blind spot. I accelerate through. I'm in my lane. But let's not get too excited because we got a lot of traffic. People are picking up food, going to work, coming home, they're tired. They don't want to see a beginning driver. They don't want to see a young driver. So we have to stay at the speed limit. It's 50. You need to be driving at 50. If we can keep our speed up, you're going to start making more lights. I did a tutorial yesterday. I had a 27-year-old driver in the vehicle on her second drive. She did great. Oh my God, that's the Cybertruck. Boy, girl, did you guys see the Cybertruck? Elon, what are you thinking? Wow. We're all distracted for a moment. So when it's raining outside, people tend to drive kind of slower, very skittish, like this truck that kind of swung out in front of us. We got to be aware of these elements in these small spots. And I got to turn in the nearest lane. Now, and this is more for your third or fourth drive, right? If you're a beginner. Now I got to get over. I can. And I'm kind of breaking the law. I apologize, guys. But I should have got in up there. So I'm human, just like all of you. What would happen? I could have got a ticket. But fortunately, I did not. So I got to come up to this stop line. You should be able to see the white line. And then pause. Sometimes you lose focus. And you just got to take a breath, catch yourself, and reel yourself back in. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm glad you see this because Even instructors have those meltdown moments. So this is a double left turn. It's a very dangerous intersection. Got a lot of traffic goes through here. Would they make this a roundabout? No, it's just too much traffic. They would not make this a roundabout. It'd be very interesting though. So for me, if I was teaching you, I would just say, relax. We're going to look for the double yellow line, because a lot of beginners, when they turn, you just don't see where you're going, even in the daylight. And when this light turns green, I'm just going to look left and right. And I'm gradually going to go up. And I'm going real easy. And that's a nice turn. So there's a lot of traffic. There are steak places here, restaurants here, Home Depot, Lowe's. So a lot of people will just pull out. And then I got to get in the left turn lane. I'm going to get in just before I need to. You can see a lot of these cars just shooting these gaps. A 90-degree turn is required. Hand over hand is the most efficient way. And then in these open areas, blinkers are critical. People don't stop, they don't use a blinker. They just assume people know where you're going. No one knows where you're going. Use your blinker, set up yourself for success. And I'm going to come in real easy. I got to be able to park. I have to be able to show you this. And you go in slow and just cover your brake. And sometimes you have to pause because you get so overwhelmed, emotional. And what I found is I never want, and I'm going to share this with you, I never want my student to get overwhelmed or emotional, because when that happens, you're subject to crash, literally. Run a light. You have inattentiveness, where you see things but you don't respond. You see a red light, but you don't stop. You see a green light, but you don't go. Right turn only, but you go straight. So I always have to catch myself. And what can cause a beginner to be overwhelmed? High volume. And what can cause a beginner to be overwhelmed? High volumes of traffic. Very little instruction. Over instruction. Maybe a miss, you almost rear end a car. I've had that happen. You blow a light and then a car comes to an intersection. That is very scary. I've had situations where clients have thought they knew how to drive and then they don't. And I think a lot of people look at teaching adults how to drive, teens how to drive. You think just tell them where to go here, go here. But they don't know what to do. You actually have to teach them. You have to tell them, come up to the stop line, turn the wheel, look to your right. A lot of beginners don't look where they're going. And if a car comes in their lane, they'll freeze. And then the car's moving at 25 or 35 or 45 miles an hour. You really have to, and what I need to do is make a guide for parents who are coaching teens, for guardians who are coaching, looks like, who are coaching. Hello. Fine, how are you? you.
Thank you.
Bye. And I think just it's taking time to be patient in your journey. And a lot of people aren't patient. They want to be able to drive a race car right now, drive high performance vehicles. It all comes in due process, because if you're not careful, you're going to end up having an accident, overwhelming yourself, missing a gear, over revving an engine, running a light, going off the road. Because driving, you have so many processes to do. For instance, I'm in a parking lot. There's a lot of traffic coming in. You saw that truck go by, there's a lot of traffic coming out. If I just focus on backing up and I don't look left and right, I'm going to hit a car. I'm going to rear end someone. So you really have to look. So I'm going to show you what you need to do. My foot's on the brake. I've calmed down a second. So I look left. Yes, I have a backup camera, but I'm not going to have my peripheral vision left and right. So I'm looking, and I tell my students, turn the wheel small. And you got to look, like really dip that head, man. Like look, okay? And then we're not worried about this big truck. And now you just got to look. Okay, we have a stop sign. This main road does not. Then we have to come up and stop. And some beginners don't know when the wheel is straight, so you have to show them. And for all of you watching this, you actually have to teach. If you want your son and daughter, or if you're an instructor, you got to teach people what to do. Now, we want to stop at this line, but we can't see. We got to go down to the bottom of the driveway. But if I go down to the bottom, this Ford truck is blocking my view. So I'm clearing the first lane. I'm going to turn in the nearest lane. Turn in the nearest lane. And some of these private driveways, no left turn, people during rush hour don't pay attention. They don't follow the rules. And we want to see the rear of the tires, which we can. And then we breathe a second. You always have to look around. Who's behind me? Who's to my left? Who's to my right? Use those mirrors. You can see that truck going by. And we just scan the intersection. And when you start covering the brake early, I can tell you're learning how to drive. If you don't cover the brake and we almost rear-end someone, you're still not analyzing traffic. The light is red. We see the 2 American flags. The green light is down there further. It just turned yellow. And I often ask these questions to teach someone how to have eye movement. And now I'm squeezing my brake very smooth, very easily, so I can see the rear of the tire on the ground. And that's a nice job. And I'm not on the gas really hard. It's almost 5:30. We're not in a rush. We have a fourth of a tank. This is our safe space. And I really want you to understand that. If you drive as if you're late or in a hurry, you're just going to miss those important safety cues in your driving environment. A car pulling out, a red light. And I'm maintaining speed. I'm at about 50. I also try to keep the car cool, because if it's too warm, you'll fall asleep. People tend to get really emotional in a warm car, so I keep it cool to almost cold, because I don't want anyone to get overheated or mad, because you're dealing with emotions. I'm going to squeeze my brake. And there are a lot of people who do not think rational. Example, I could be tailgating this EcoBoost car, and then someone could brake check me, leave good speed and good space. We're at 50 again. We're just chilled, we're relaxed, we're feeling good, everything's nice. We're okay. Bars are very dangerous areas. People are drinking, happy hour. You have to be aware. You can't just assume, hey, I'm driving. People are not going to walk in front of me. They're not going to tailgate me. They're not going to be in a rush in a hurry and cut off everyone. You're living in a dream world. I'm trying to stay as smooth as possible, keep good speed, and keep good space. And then we have to go up to where the second driveway is. Past this black car, it's actually the gray car. I'm turning on my blinker just before, and then I'm going to squeeze my brakes and use the ball of my foot. If I overturn, I'm going to go over the curb. They're really blocking. So I'm looking, and I'm going to really strive for good turns. And I'm just scanning. And then you're going to analyze this traffic. Analyze this traffic. Don't leave. Okay, I asked you to analyze the traffic. You'll see cars making turns, not using blinkers. You'll see cars that are in front of the stop line. You'll see cars and trucks running lights. There's no promise or guarantee every time we drive that we cannot be in an accident. Risk is everywhere. And as I'm talking, I want you to look at this intersection. Some people run the light. They're yellow light runners. As an instructor, if you're going to run the light, I'm not going to drive you. I want to say this again. I want you to see my face. As an instructor, if you run the light, I'm not going to drive you because you're starting to feel comfortable running lights. And eventually we will get hit. So every time I get in the car with someone, I'm putting my life on the line. So I need to think of mental health, I need to think of safety, and I need to think of education. It's not a testosterone match. This is a 4,000-pound weapon that could take the lives. In fact, there was a lady who was intoxicated, drove, went through a building and killed 2 kids. And she's on trial right now. How can you do that and drive under the influence? And she is 67 years old. She's out on $1 million bond. If you don't believe me, type it in to the internet. A 67-year-old lady who was intoxicated, went through a building and killed 2 people. She was double the legal limit. So I really need you to understand this. A lot of you, and I look at your comments, take this for granted. And if you take it for granted, you're just not really serious about learning how to drive. Driving is a privilege, not a right. And that can be taken away. So I'm going to start the vehicle, and I'm going to show you what you're supposed to do when you back up. Okay, my foot's on the brake. I got to put it in reverse. I'm looking, and I'm going to cut the wheel to the right. If I see people, I'm going to pause for a second, but I'm not going to stare. And then I turn out. You've got to really focus on smart maneuverability. And I bought a lot of students to this area. If you really want to learn how to drive, you need to be able to park in these small, tight areas. I'm looking. And we cannot make a left turn, but yet people make left turns. I have to wait for this traffic to go by. Also, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and I had some family in Canada, and I tried to find the Hamilton Tiger Cats just offbeat. You know, we have to be fair, and that's what I want to say. We're at this intersection. This is a protected left turn. If you were driving with me, I'm not going to say just go, because most of you won't. You'll panic and miss the gas or miss the brake. We have a blinking yellow, we move forward. And that's a hazard. That guy has a little string there holding all those dishwashers, and dangerous. So I'm going to come up to the middle, and I'm waiting. Here's a gap. But I'm just going to wait. That white car is moving really slow. Don't be in a hurry to take your life. I'm looking. And if you're with me, I'm just telling you, turn by the double yellow. We're just waiting. I really don't care if people honk at us or get mad. It's about safety. You saw that burgundy Trailblazer change lanes. Don't change lanes before you go into the intersection. It's dangerous. Here is our blinking yellow. It's clear. And then we go right by the double yellow. And that's how you make a proper turn. And I'm going to get over one lane. And this turn, I'm going to make a right. I have to tell you a story. I had a young man in tears because literally, if I didn't slow him down, we were going to crash. And this is a 90-degree turn, and we have to turn hand over hand in and hand over hand out. Everyone is different. They steer hand to hand, hand over hand. Use a technique that's comfortable for you. Be safe. Be consistent. Be aware. We're going to go all the way up to the edge, and we want to stop. We're going to go across. Now we're back in a residential area. You have stop signs, yield signs, little kids are out. So we've got to really be aware. I'm going really slow. And I'm looking ahead at every single street. A car's going to blow stop signs. Is someone riding a bike? Is someone on a motorcycle? I see the black vehicle backing up. Use your skill sets. I'm going to go in about 15, and I'm just turning. Going in real easy. Going slow. There's so many elements that we as drivers have to deal with. You can be overstimulated, understimulated, tired, angry, emotional. Keep your emotions in check. Oh, by the way, I do have a stand store. You can get on a phone call with me. You could sign up for a coaching call to pass your road test, to talk about anxiety, mental health. Also have a digital product, road test prep. So what I need you guys to do, click the link in my bio. It does work. And then purchase one of those items. I want to say thank you. And I'll be going live later, probably about 7 or 7:30.